Alright, hello everybody. Finally, July 19, 1969, the lunar encounter. It's really amazing how long it took them to get there, and running this simulation in something approaching real time has really brought home how long it really took. I mean, all the way from July 16, the launch, till today. It's taken quite a while. Alright, so we have 17 minutes before closest approach to the moon. We are about 500 nautical miles away from the surface. Let's see what everything looks like. So looking at the 3D view, I'm going to turn towards Earth. So the moon fills the whole screen at this range, and you can see the Earth. We're about to lose sight of the Earth as we go around the far side of the moon. Like I said earlier, approaching the moon in this way, the astronauts pretty much noticed it by the absence of stars in the full disk of the moon that they were looking at approaching. Alright, so we have quite a bit to do here. Let's go back to our mode, and we need to plot our our orbit around the moon. So let's do that right here. So they arrived at the moon. You can see our perigee, perilune is about 60 nautical miles. That's fine. And they came in, I believe they had their apollune at 169 or so nautical miles. So let's just do that, and then I can get some fine. Alright, 169, close enough. Submit. Okay, so we're now going into the burn attitude. We have 9 minutes, 8 minutes before the burn. Let's put our thrust at maximum, because we're going to use obviously the main engine for this burn. The burn will be 6 minutes and 9 seconds long. And just like we've been doing all along, we're going to do that burn, half of it before the closest approach and half after. So we'll start the burn somewhere around 3 minutes something. Alright, so you can see the Saturn booster is on a different trajectory. Obviously we didn't do any course corrections, so it's going to be on the free return, so you can see how that works. The astronauts, Neil, Buzz, and Mike Collins, had a lot of work to do in the coast. I'm sure they were really glad to get to this phase here. Alright, so we have a countdown, 3 minutes, so gonna get ready to fire that engine shortly. It's gonna go yellow. Coming up, there we go. Alright, so the acceleration is 0.21 g, so about a fifth of what you'd feel on Earth, which is quite substantial, having been weightless for 3 days. They would have had to strap everything down. Wouldn't want to have any projectiles flying around the cabin at this time. Alright, we're about halfway through the burn. 3.5 minutes to go. Let's take a look at our trajectory. There we go. It's an ellipse coming in nicely. So we are captured at this point. If we stop the burn, we would be in orbit. It would be a 5-hour orbit. Apogee coming down nicely. Get this in here better. 1 minute to go. Uh, 0.26 Gs, so about a fourth of what they'd feel on Earth. 10 seconds to go. Done. Great. Alright, so what did we get? Apogee 167 nautical miles by 61 nautical miles. Alright, that's fine. So we're at the moon, July 19th. So the next thing they'd want to do was orbit a few times and characterize the orbit, and then after that circularize the orbit. They want to end up at 60 by 60 nautical miles, and that's the standard orbit from which the descent to the surface would begin. Alright, so let's set that up now. I mean, no time like the present. Let's see here. We would do a plot and then set this, our apollune, to 60 nautical miles. There's 61, that's close enough. And submit. Alright, so we'd have to go all the way around to this point here, and that is 2 hours away. And then burn for 14 seconds with our main engine, and that would reduce the apollune to 61. So that's how that's done, but let's just go back to coast mode and see what there is to see. So they would put the spacecraft in what's called orb rate, so that it faces the direction of motion relative to the moon, and it would rotate as it goes around the moon. Let's see the surface here, just some mountains and flat areas, just something to look at. And a 3D view. Alright, you can see a piece of the moon on the right, the horizon. And if you turn the ship, okay, turn it some more, it pretty much fills your full screen all the way till you get to the limb. Alright, so that's what we have to work with in this orbit. And the next thing to do is to circularize the orbit, and that we will do next. Probably the next thing we'll see is after that's been done. A really cool thing which happens around here, there we go, is Earthrise. So after the burn, this is the first time they'd see the Earth. The Apollo 8 astronauts, I think on the transcript someone actually said, "Oh my God," when they saw it. And there's not too much excitement on those transcripts, so that really stood out. And yeah, after seeing this really gray, lifeless moon, it's pretty exciting to see the blue marble. So this is when they transmit to Earth, and they'd figure out that the burn went successfully. They could calculate the velocities to figure out that the burn was successful. And yeah, it's pretty far out there. Alright, so next time we meet, we'll have them in circular orbit, and it'll It'll be July 20, the lunar landing day, and we'll proceed from there. Cheers.